Aloha kako. O Chai Boggs ko Oinoa. Hello everyone, my name is Chai Boggs and I will be discussing the role of mindful practices at Waikiki Elementary School on teachers and parents after COVID-19. While student teaching during the 2020-2021 academic school year at Waikiki Elementary School, my mentor teacher and I would start each class period with an ole, which means Hawaiian chant. Join me as I chant Eho Mai, which translates to grant us. This chant was originally performed by students at the beginning of class to request knowledge and wisdom. Eho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna no ea, o nā mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. O mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna no ea, o nā mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna no ea, o nā mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai In March of 2020, the world as we know it was turned upside down. The COVID-19 pandemic changed the entire trajectory of normalcy for billions of people worldwide. People were required to isolate themselves from the rest of the world and their loved ones, causing elementary school teachers and families to struggle to cope with emerging depression, anxiety, relational conflict, and trauma. Let us discuss what mindfulness is in the first place. Mindfulness is the awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally to the unfolding experience, moment by moment. Waikiki Elementary systematically implements mindfulness practices and is recognized for prioritizing mindfulness by using the 16 Habits of Mind, developed by Arthur L. Costa. Mindfulness practices stem from Buddhist ideas and have been shown to be a valid way to help recognize and regulate difficult emotions. For my research, I asked a series of 7 different questions. What is mindfulness? Starting with, what does it mean at Waikiki Elementary School? Are there long-term social and emotional effects to the teachers and families of elementary school students resulting from the trauma of COVID-19? How can the trauma of COVID-19 be identified in teachers and the families of elementary school students? What are mindfulness practices for teachers and the families of elementary school students at Waikiki Elementary School? What are the benefits of mindfulness practices at Waikiki Elementary School for teachers and the families of elementary school students? How will the mindfulness practices at Waikiki Elementary School impact the trauma developed during COVID-19? And lastly, how will implementing mindfulness practices during the pandemic impact teachers and families of elementary school students' social and emotional well-being? The primary method used to collect data in my research was Google. The 3 main applications that I used within the platform were Gmail, Google Forms, and Google Sheets. I conducted research at Waikiki Elementary School through a survey and interview approved by the IRB and DOE over a 3-day period. My research sample was conducted using criterion sampling. The criteria for participants was any teacher or family member currently enrolled at Waikiki Elementary School. 150 individuals from the school were contacted to participate in the study. The response rate was not very high, but the desired sample was achieved, including 8 teachers, 6 parents, and 2 staff members. Let's explore some of the key findings in my research. To ensure that the individuals who are participating in this study were an efficient representation of the target population, I looked at the following demographics: age, race, gender, marital status, employment status, and personal income. These graphs show how often mindfulness practices are used throughout participants' days, and also it shows how familiar they are with Waikiki Elementary School's mindfulness practice. All participants agree that mindfulness practices are beneficial to their social and emotional well-being. However, the usage of the mindfulness practices varies between participants. Both parents and teachers agree that mindfulness practices are beneficial to their social and emotional well-being. All participants indicated using either the Waikiki Mindfulness Counselor Corner or the Habits of Mind. 56.3% of teachers and parents said that they use other mindfulness practices outside of Waikiki's recommendations. 87.5% of participants believe that it varies when they would use Waikiki Elementary School's mindfulness practices to support their social and emotional well-being. Although the age range of participants in this study varies, it's essential to point out that the majority of this study's participants are between the ages of 34 and 54. Despite the effort to include all gender identities in this study, there were only 2 male participants and 14 female participants. The goal of my research is to validate mindfulness practices in education for both parents, teachers, or any individuals seeking research-based strategies to improve their overall well-being.